Good afternoon. I want to welcome everyone to part 7 of characteristics of a leader. Let me get this lighting correct here so it's not shining all over the place. All right, there we go. So, welcome to characteristics of a leader. I hope everyone's having a fantastic week. Um, we weren't here last week. I had some things I need to take care of. I do apologize for that. But we are here today. So, part 7 of character building. What we're going to be looking at today is integrity. We're going to be looking at integrity. And the best way to start that off is from the word of God. It says in Genesis chapter 3 and 22, it says the Lord God said, "Look, the human beings have become like us, knowing both good and evil. What if they reach out, take fruit from the tree of life and eat it? Then they will live forever. Then they will live forever." So at this time, we know that Adam and Eve ate of the fruit and their eyes were open, their natural eyes were open, their spiritual eyes closed. So now they're living life upon what they see in the natural, not what they are sensing by the spirit in the spirit. In the spirit. Now, it wasn't supposed to happen like this, I'm assuming, but it did. And we became like the Most High, knowing good and evil. Now, it goes on to say in Genesis chapter 6, in verse 5, it says, "And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thought of his heart was only evil continually." So that sounds a lot like today, wouldn't you say? I mean, people are trying to come up with ways to get money, make money, manipulate people for money, and all kind of other things. And that is wickedness because, as it said in verse 22 of Genesis, we now understand good and evil. When before the fruit, all we understood was the spirit, being led by God, loving God, walking with God. But as we ate of that fruit, we it opened up another portal and given us understanding of something that I believe that God did not want us to have. Amen. So, I feel we're in a worse position today than we were back then. If you look, just how people are. I mean, and we're talking about integrity now. We're talking about integrity. So, just looking at how people are, how they'll bend the truth, how, in the midst of being caught in something, not being, having the integrity to admit it, and things of this nature. So we really, as men and women, need to take a look at ourselves and ask ourselves, how is our integrity? Now, many of us are in leadership roles. We have pastors, we have, deacons, and those in the church. We have those that are managers and supervisors and leads. And we have men that are married and they're the head of their home and all these type of things. But my question is, are you an effective leader? Are you an effective leader? Now, from my book, The Characteristics of a Leader, we're going to go into chapter 4, and I'm going to read a little bit pertaining to such a thing. It says, "A leader with integrity is someone who can be trusted to do to do the right thing, even when it is difficult or unpopular. A leader known for being dishonest or unethical will quickly lose the respect of those around them. As a result, they will be less likely to be effective in their role." So let me ask you, if you are in leadership, are you being effective in your role? Are you someone that can be trusted to do the right thing, even when it hurts, even when it's unpopular? Are you one that will do the right thing? From the book, that tells me that individuals that are walking in that type of integrity, individuals will trust and they will follow. But then it went on to say those that, let me get back to that, being dishonest or unethical will quickly lose the respect from those that they are leading. So do you feel like individuals are not following you or are disrespecting you? The question is, how is your integrity in your position? Whether it be in your marriage, whether it be in your job, whether it be in your community, or whether it be in the church. What is your integrity? What does it look like? What does it look like? Integrity plays a big part in your friendships and relationships. Plays a big part, and people really don't. Well, I would say today, in today's day and age, people don't really see how important it is to have a healthy integrity in their relation. Let me go to the book. Let me go to the book. I wrote this. Integrity also plays an important role in building relationships. People are more likely to want to work with and follow a leader they perceive as trustworthy and principled. In short, integrity is a critical ingredient for any leader who wants to be successful. It's a critical ingredient for any leader who wants to be successful. So if you see yourself as a successful leader, then you're telling me that your integrity is high. You stand by your morals, you stand by what is right, and you do what is right. And that's a good thing. And that's a good thing. Now, let's look at this. Let's look at what is the mindset of a person with integrity. What's the mindset? Because you got to realize everything begins with a thought. Everything begins with a thought. So, what are you thinking? And as you're thinking it, it's going to go into your emotions. And from your emotions, it's going to go into an action. So, with that, with that, I wrote this. A man with integrity understands that he is responsible for his own actions and choices. He doesn't blame others or make excuses when things go wrong. Instead, he takes ownership of his mistakes and learns from them. He also knows how to apologize sincerely when he has wronged someone. He recognizes the value of relationships and works to maintain healthy, honest communication. Healthy and honest communication. Let me ask you, is that you? Are you one that will sincerely apologize when you know you're wrong? Are you one that takes ownership when something goes awry? You know, you get individuals, you work as a team, and you may screw something up, and you want to put it on someone else. And I think that's the way of the world today. The last thing we want to do is look at ourselves. We don't want to we don't want to look at us, but we quick to begin to talk about people on the outside and what they doing and how they doing and how they should do and this, that, and the third. But what about you? What about you? What about you? There's one thing that we say. We say that the two most important days of our lives is when we are born, and most people saying when we die. That's not important. Well, it's important because you're transitioning back to the Father. But I'm gonna throw something else in there. The two most important days of your lives is when you are born and when you figure out why you are alive, your purpose. when you are brought into the world and understand the reason why your purpose you were brought into the world. What I wrote around that is this: once we understand our role in this world, it becomes our responsibility to make the most of our talents and reach our full potential. This can only be done by committing to doing our best every day, no matter what the challenge or task may be. No matter what the challenge or the task may be. Do you know your purpose of being on the earth? Do you understand why you are so good at these things and maybe not at those things? What is it that drives you? What is it you love to do? See, all these things tie into your purpose. But see, we're living in a day and time where we're so caught up on television and reality shows and getting this and doing that, that we're not taking the time to really evaluate ourselves so that we can understand that this is my purpose. This is what I was called to do. This is what I was sent to this earth to do, because everyone that has been born has a purpose, has a purpose. But one of the things we must understand, we have a adversary that wants to keep us away from understanding our getting to know what our purpose is. Because once you find it and you stay on that road to it, you'll begin to get the success and the things in which maybe you've been wanting for a period of time. I got a question. I got a question. How are you at keeping your commitments? How are you at keeping your commitments? I don't want to know. That's a question for you. But I can tell you with me, it ain't too good. I would have to say that it's not too good. I do good in some areas and in others, no. But here, this is what I wrote. This is what I wrote. People who are successful in any endeavor are those who have learned to follow through on their commitments. They understand that their word is their bond and do whatever it takes to honor their promises. This level of dedication requires hard work and perseverance, but it is essential if we want to achieve our goal. Okay. Now, the next paragraph reads this: when we make a commitment, we are essentially telling ourselves that we are capable of meeting the challenge. This act of faith helps to increase our confidence and motivation. Two essential components of success is one, following through on your commitments also instills a sense of trust in those around us. People will be more likely to believe in and support us if they know that we are reliable and will always keep our word. So, whatever your dream or goal may be, remember always to keep your word. Do whatever it takes to follow through on your commitment, and you will be well on your way to achieving the success that you're looking for. And that is a, I'm not going to say it's a difficult thing to do. Like I wrote, it's hard work and perseverance. It's hard work and perseverance. This lighting keeps going in and out. Okay, there we go. All right. So keeping your commitment, if it's something that you feel that you can't do, then don't commit to it. And if you have committed to it, do your utmost to stay true to it. Because what this is going to do is it's going to show people that when you say that you're going to do something, that you will follow through and you will do it. And what that does is it builds trust. It builds trust. People will trust what you say. There was a time in my life where people would say, you know what, Anthony said he'll be here at 5:15, he'll be there at 5:45. He ain't never on time. Or he said he'll call me back. He don't call nobody back. He just say he's gonna call somebody back. And that's not the type of reputation that I want. So what I had to do was to change some things around in my life. Have I mastered it? Oh, I'm far from mastering it. But the thing of it is I know where I want to be and I know what I need to do to get there. And now it's up to me to put in the work to do so. And why do I say that? Because if this is you, it's not that you can't. It's a point of you have to put in the work and persevere and learn it so that it becomes second nature to you. So that it becomes second nature to you. All right. So what we're going to talk about now, we're going to talk a little bit about developing our integrity. Developing our integrity. So I wrote this. I wrote, most people think integrity is a character trait that either you have it or you don't. Either you have it or you don't. But the truth is, integrity is something that can be developed. So that means that you're not born with it. It's something that is developed based upon how you were raised and how you lived. You know, some people have great character, or excuse me, integrity. But then there's others that have no integrity. Okay. It says, just like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And like any muscle, it will begin to atrophy when it's not used, or shrink, or gets weaker. So if you want to develop integrity, it's important to make it a part of your daily life. Make it a part of your daily life, something you do on a day-to-day basis. Let's say it takes 28 days to create a habit. So if you focused on your integrity for 28 days, I can guarantee you that things will shift, things will change. And if they change in you, it's going to change on the outside. Things are going to change on the outside. Let's take a look at 5 tools that I wrote that would assist you in developing a more positive integrity and allow you to be a better leader. 1, be honest with yourself. One of the most important things you can do is to be honest with yourself. That means being honest about your thoughts, your feelings, and motives. When you're honest with yourself, it's easier to be honest with others. Now that's crucial because many of us lie to ourselves. We lie to ourselves, and if we lie to ourselves, guess what? We lie to other people. So sometimes we need to turn off the boob tube, turn off the radio, and sit down and examine our own self. You know, in the 12-step programs, they say taking an inventory. You know, any store that doesn't take an inventory is going to go broke. Well, if you don't take an inventory of yourself, look at yourself as a store, guess what? You're going to be broke. All right. Number 2 is be consistent. Another important thing to remember is that integrity requires consistency. This means behaving in the same way, regardless of who you're with or your situation. It also means that your words and actions should match. People will quickly lose trust in you if you say one thing and do another. Wishy-washy, messy folks. Consistent. If you're consistently being honest, if you're consistently uh, apologizing when you know you're wrong, and doing the necessary things or healthy things consistently, it doesn't matter if you were a person that was never on time, or a person that would say one thing and do another. If you did this consistently, people will look at you differently. They say time will tell. So if you're consistent over time, people will see you differently. You can't jump in and jump out, jump in and jump out, because that's doing the same old thing, expecting different results. And that's insanity. And I don't think you're insane. At least I know I'm not. All right. Number 3, being accountable. One of the best ways to show integrity is to be accountable for your actions. This means taking responsibility for your choices and being willing to face the consequence, good or bad. Willing to face the consequence, good or bad. Do you take accountability for the things and the choices that you make? You know, sometimes what we try to do is we try to make a choice, even though there's a bad consequence, we feel we can skirt the consequence. Cheating on your wife, cheating on your husband, coming in a half hour late to work and telling the boss you're on time, supposed to be somewhere, but you really don't want to go. You go somewhere else, and then you tell them, oh, I was sick. All these type of things. And then when they find out, are you willing enough and able to take accountability for your actions in which you took, good or bad? Number 4, stand up for what you believe in. Stand up for what you believe in. When you have integrity, you're not afraid to stand up for what you believe in, even if it means standing alone. That's because you know that doing the right thing is more important than being popular, is more important than being popular. You know, a lot of people would rather stand with the masses instead of standing on what they believe, because they feel they would be disliked, judged, abandoned, rejected, and all these other things. They would throw away their morals and their values and their beliefs just to be liked or loved or a part of. But if you have integrity, you don't care about any of that stuff. I believe what I believe, and I'm going to stand on what I believe. I don't care if you believe it or not. I don't give us 1,000 people standing over here. I'll be standing over there in my belief, because it's what I believe. Takes a lot of strength to do that. Takes a lot of strength, a lot of courage, and a lot of strength. I think I said that. Last but not least, set a good example. Leaders are leading because they have people that are following. You know, I always say, if you want to really know anything about a company, look at the front line, because everything falls downhill. Okay. So if the CEO, the CCO, the CFO, if they're sitting around here talking about folks and treating people sideways, then that's the way the bottom line is going to be. Those that are on the front line, they're going to be that same way. But if those in the front line, if they are, or not the front line, excuse me, but the CEO and those in the corporate world, if they're doing things accordingly and holding themselves accountable, then what's going to happen is that's going to trickle down, and it's going to fall on those on the front line. So when you go to work, just look around, see what kind of mess is going on. I can guarantee you it's starting from the top. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. All right. So setting a good example. If you want your team, if you want your significant other, if you want those that, if you're what do they call that? A community leader, and you want individuals to follow you, then be the example. If you want them to be a certain way, then you must be that way in order to allow it to trickle down to the masses. All right. So we got a couple questions here, 5 questions. For those that have purchased my book, as you know, there's the assessment questions after each chapter. I recommend you to go ahead and go to those, and they really will assist you in looking within yourself pertaining to all of the characteristics we have gone over, integrity and emotional intelligence and developing effective communicational skills and vision. So the first one is, are you accountable for your words, your behaviors, and the decisions you make? Are you accountable of those? I mean, if you're found out, will you stand up and say, "Yeah, I was wrong," or "I apologize," or whatever the case may be? Are you accountable? Number two, do you stand up for what you believe in, even if it means going against the crowd? Are you a people pleaser? Are you going to run and be with the masses just because you want to be liked? Just because you want to be liked? Number three, are you a good role model to others, living your life in a way that reflects your values and beliefs? Again, being a good person. You know, what it say? It says treat people the way you want to be treated. So if you want to be treated a certain way, treat people that way. If you want people to operate and move a certain way, you move and operate in that certain way. I remember, being a chef in the restaurants. I would go and wash dishes. Just the dishwasher wouldn't show up. I'd be over there washing dishes. I wouldn't tell somebody, "Hey, you go wash them. I'm going to do it." So from that point, you had the prep cooks and everybody else coming over and picking up where, when I had to go on the line, they would come and pick up and assist. Uh, Number four, do you follow through on your commitments and obligations? Do you follow through? Do you just say yes to say yes? Or are you saying yes because it's something that you are able to do and you are committed to do? And follow through with that here's a good example, and I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this. I'm tell you, when I wrote the book, I was really moving in all these areas, but I didn't hold on to it. So for those of you that are following me in this, if you're not getting anything, believe me, I am. All right. So do you follow through with your commitment? So here it is. Okay, you know what? I'm going to pick you up at 7:30 and be ready. Now, are you there at 7:30? I'm going to call you right back. Do you call the person right back? I'm bad. I'm bad at both of those, but I'm getting better now. Y'all pray for me. All right. Number five, do you make decisions based on what is right or what is popular? Ooh, ouch, that hurt. How do you make your decisions? Do you make your decisions on morals and what are right? Or do you make decisions on just what is popular, what people are doing, or what the masses or your homies and are doing? You see, I remember growing up, I did a lot of stuff just because my friends were doing it. I didn't want to do it. I knew better in doing it, but I did it anyway because they were doing it. You know, are you like that? Are you like that? Make decisions based on what is right. Forget what's popular, because you know what? What's popular today will be unpopular tomorrow. But what will always be right is what is right. All right, people. Well, hey, like I said, I want to keep this at around 30 minutes because it's a lot of information. And again, for y'all, go out and get my book, The Characteristics of a Leader. You can go to Amazon, type in Anthony Baxter, Characteristics of a Leader. It should pop up. I'm still trying to find a link that I can put on this to where you can just click on it and go straight to the book. I guarantee you, if you get the book, you study yourself and apply the tools that are in the book, I can guarantee you, you will transform into a better leader. I'm not going to say no one's a good leader, but we all can do better. And that's what this book is about. And be looking for part two of Characteristics of a Leader, because there are more characteristics that leaders have that make them the leaders that they are today. All right. So next week, we're going to be talking about passion. We're going to be talking about passion. It's like leaders without passion is like an engine without fuel. We need something to keep us moving forward, and that's that passion. So come join us next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, y'all Have a fantastic evening, a wonderful week. Don't get too full and continue to give God love. Peace.